Hello and welcome back to Well Played. I'm Caroline Hendershot.
And I'm Blake Merwin. We are here bright and early on Tuesday morning.
Very bright.
Because my girl, you guys might not know this, but she has a full-time job outside of this.
I just like to really overwhelm myself with as much as I possibly can. It's really good. And then I wonder why I'm stressed and anxious
and
all
tired.
of the time. Yeah, it's a crazy concept. Yeah. It's like my Aura ring just yells at me 24/7.
Oh my God. I didn't even clock that as an Aura ring.
Thank you so much.
I think that's the point.
Chic and stylish.
It is.
Yeah. No, it like comes up with alerts on your phones of like, so yesterday it was Monday. I slept it clocked me 3 hours and 40 minutes.
No.
Yeah, that was a toughie. But it's
like, why'd you have to tell me? Like, looking at my ring,
and then and then it yelled at me. It was like, pay attention to your sleep. And I was like, I know. I'm exhausted.
They need a bio of your job. Yeah. That's like the next feature that Aura Ring's got to bring in.
Or like, can we just have an options where it's like, please be nice to me today? Like, don't yell at me.
I need gentleness today to start my day. I'm going to say Caroline so graciously got me a coffee this morning. And it's the first thing I've ingested and I'm feeling unhinged already. And like, I haven't even made it through halfway. So apologies in advance for any crazy shit I'm about to say.
I know like every doctor on TikTok that I see clips of, don't tell my mom who was a nurse. She'll be mad at me. I know every like clip of doctors that are like, you should not ingest caffeine as the first thing every morning.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that one.
That's all I ever do.
Same, because also it's just like holds off a little bit of breakfast. Like I don't need to eat right away.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like hold that off. I will eat when I go to the office.
I will give a little bit of context because I just was like, I only slept for 3 hours and 40 minutes yesterday.
It wasn't just for fun.
Once again, because you have like a crazy nightlife. You're so popular. No. We played Sunday Night Football.
You were on the field.
I was on the field. So Jets played Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh, we were talking about this off camera, underrated city.
Agreed.
Sorry I slept on you. But just it's very walkable, along the river, beautiful. We ran that morning, me and one of my coworkers. We ran to this park that overlooks, like, it's on the river essentially. It overlooks the stadium and then the rest of the river, all the bridges. So pretty.
It's really nice that you went on a run with your coworker.
Yeah. She actually just ran the Chicago Marathon.
Of course.
Because
of course she did.
We're all sick in the head. We're all sick in the head. But she was also a former athlete at Ohio State. So surprisingly,
you guys get along.
Surprisingly, we have a great friendship. We just don't talk about that when it comes time. But so yes, the Jets played the Steelers. They kicked off at 8:20. No one respects my 9 p.m. bedtime. It's fine. And I couldn't tell you like when the game ended or any of those details because I just don't pay attention to timing.
Sauce.
Exactly. But I do know that I got back to my apartment at 3:45 in the morning.
Oh my God.
And I've been really trying to be diligent about my skincare. Do you know how hard it is to do a skincare routine at 4:15 in the morning? Like a nighttime skincare routine.
And it's basically morning.
Yeah,
that's your morning skincare.
It's a full-time
I have some
job.
news for you.
It's a full-time job. So then, 3:45, then I tried to unwind because I obviously could not go to sleep right away because I had just driven home from the airport. And so I think I hit the hay around 5:20-ish. And that's why my Aura ring hates me.
That's insane.
And why I hate me.
Well, I'm sorry that you probably got not that much sleep last night too, but you know what? This is the reality we live in.
Yep, just gotta pick yourselves up by your bootstraps.
There you go.
Here we roll. Okay, so let's just get to it. Very busy week in the world of sports. Lots to talk about as per usual. If you are not watching, make sure you go to our YouTube channel because Blake has an absolute killer fit on today. Her boots are sick.
Don't look there. But yes, these boots are insane.
No, beautiful. And I always appreciate a good shoe, especially a heel.
Yes. I don't wear heels often.
Also, Blake's a tall girl like me. Tall girls unite.
Not as tall as Caroline.
Yeah, but you're tall.
Yeah.
And so whenever a tall girl wears heels, I'm big fan.
I feel unstoppable.
Big fan. So, anyways, go to the YouTube channel if you want to see Blake's outfit and the full-length video of today's episode. Also, make sure you're following us on Instagram at The Skim. Follow me at CG Hendy. And Blake, your favorite time of the episode. Where can they follow you?
I'm trying to get this fast. BL 3 A's, 4 K's, 1 E, still workshopping it, accepting pitches. My DMs are open.
Accepting pitches. I actually would love to hear some pitches.
I will let you know when they come through, when those DMs start flooding in.
The hundreds of thousands, yes.
Oh, absolutely. But as always, we've prepared a roundup of our favorite stories dominating your feeds this week. It is time for Playing the Field.
We begin with a historic moment in the history of women's sports. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Liberty have secured their first WNBA championship on Sunday night. I also will say that when I was doing the game, I do like the radio broadcast in game. So I have like an earpiece that connects me to the booth. And our producer, like, we went to commercial break and he goes, "The Liberty just won." And I said, "Say it again." And he goes, "The Liberty just won." And I was like, "Thank you so much for the update, Joe." So I was following along in spirit. Yes. But the series featured record attendance and viewership, but it wasn't without a little controversy.
No. Because with just 5.2 seconds left in regulation, Liberty's start, Breanna Stewart drew a game-tying foul that many were calling a little sus. They were saying that did not look right. That did not seem right to us. So just a few moments prior, Stewart had missed a pair of 3 throws, setting her up for a very dramatic moment.
Yeah, it was like quite the heart-stopping final few minutes of the game. I was thinking of poor Amanda.
Oh, yes.
I was like, please don't go into labor.
Our dear Amanda, she was actually at the game. I was frightened for her life.
for her labor problems. But before we get into the foul, what did you think watching it in real time?
Yes, I was watching it in real time. I scurried over to my friend's house to catch. While I was watching it, I had to pick up a bag at my friend's house. Yes. So I was watching the second half of Q3. And then during the, intermission between the 2 quarters, I drove over to her house, parked the car, got up my ass up in the elevator, and then I plopped my butt on the couch. I said, "We are watching this game."
As you should.
There was a lot of screaming, crying, and throwing up. Yep. I was screeching. Truly. It was hard
Is that why you have no voice?
That is why I have no voice today. I don't know what this is about, but I'm serious. I really do think that is part of the reason why.
I believe it.
It was kind of hard to watch. I'm not going to lie. I felt like defensively, the Liberty was just looking they're kind of flailing, flopping around. The Lynx looked really tight. I mean, they have Nafisa Collier, amazing player, amazing defensive player. But yeah, it was a tough one. Yeah. And watching the pair of 3 throws, because like we said, the pair of 3 throws happened. First set, Stewie did not get any of those throws. And I was really surprised because I feel like I'm not a basketball player. Yeah. I was like, I think if you put me on that court, I think I could get him.
Could make him. I think I could get him. Maybe Blake doesn't need to sub in.
Coach. Exactly. Put me in. And then, obviously we know how the second pair went. Yeah. And it was just absurd. It was wild. I was on the edge of I was shaking in my boots.
Yeah. Those boots.
Yes, in these boots. But basically, we know how the game ended. They won. Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve, after the game, was not happy. And she basically was like, the refs botched this call. She went as far as to say it was a stolen game. She wasn't the only one. LeBron James also said, quote, "I'm sorry, but that wasn't a foul. Let the damn players dictate the outcome of a close battle." He didn't write this properly, but a close, battle-tested game. Dame Lillard also tweeted, "Refs called this game like they knew the assignment in the second half."
Yeah, I saw that.
So what do we think? Was this foul the deciding factor in the game? And do you think the Lynx should feel wronged here?
I think every team experiences this at one point or another. Because if we think of the Super Bowl when the Chiefs and the 49ers played, there was, I forget exactly what the foul or the penalty was called for, but there was I think it was PI. I think I could be wrong. Maybe it was just holding, but it was like a very specific defensive penalty, and it worked in the Chiefs' favor, obviously. And people were pissed because they were like, it's so ticky-tacky that that should not be what a game is decided on. It should be decided on who plays better and everything that goes into the whole entirety of the game. So I get the players being pissed because I think when it comes down to it, sure, could it have been considered a foul? Yes. Should the refs call it? I don't know. That's where it gets kind of really up in the air, because players get really pissed about it when they're like, just let us play the game. But then part of the game is fouls. And
yeah, I do think the Lynx should feel wronged here, just because it's difficult, but if you watch the playback, admittedly, I don't know that much about the rules of basketball.
Yeah.
I am a new fan. I'll say it with my chest.
Yeah, give her credit. God
But
damn
even
it.
I was like, before the foul was called against Alana Smith of the Lynx, it looked to me like Stewie clearly traveled with the ball.
Yes.
And so people were like, why wasn't
Twitter was freaking out about that.
she not called on that?
Correct.
And then, of course, watching the replay tape, most people are like, also, Alana Smith did not actually foul her. And I know that you and I kind of like were talking about this offline, but just like the craziness of watching Sandy Brondello, the head coach of the Liberty Live, say on air, like, if they foul you, like, embellish it.
Yep.
Which I'm sure most coaches would obviously say that, but just like hearing her say it.
Right, because then people were making a big deal of it on Twitter because then you didn't hear anything else after that in the huddle. So they cut the mics, ESPN did. So it's like, yeah. So it was almost kind of like, oh, we shouldn't have let everyone hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting too, because then Twitter was also freaking out about that.
Yes. So I do think the Lynx should feel wronged here. I think some other people were kind of saying like, it doesn't always come down to one call.
Yeah.
Like your team offensively, Cheryl Reeve was not playing that well either during the whole game. It was really hard to watch Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu not play their best game in the series final. Like, but it also, opened the floor for other players to really shine, which I thought was great. I mean, we saw Sabali come off that bench and like bring new energy into the game. And I think she got like 13 points or something when she was playing. And the team really needed that. I mean, like without that, her play like in the game, I don't know if they would have secured the bag.
Yeah.
JJ also played a phenomenal game. Obviously, she won MVP. So it was cool to see. I mean, these players, especially Sabali off the bench, like she had an injury. She was out for a while, and getting to see her play this like pivotal moment in the games is really cool. But definitely hard to watch. Like our top shooters, not.
Yeah. I think
not secure the bag. I don't know.
From what I also gathered on Twitter, people were like, not like mocking them, but like a little bit, being like, "Wow, you're celebrating, and you were like,
I know,
not playing your best, whatever." And it's like, okay, I get it. That is their job. I get it. You're holding them accountable, totally. But it's also like, okay, they had other games in the series where it's like big moments. I don't know. I understand it. Like you got to kind of show up when it's your turn. But it's a long series.
Yeah. And also, I mean, this isn't the only game that had ended with complaints about the refereeing. I think people in general, from what I've read, are like having issues with throughout this whole season, honestly, of the WNBA with the officiating that's been going on. I feel like people feel that the officiating, the refereeing has been very inconsistent and people don't know what to expect from the refs.
Interesting.
And I think this is just pointing to this wider conversation that's going to have to be had because I think this whole WNBA season undoubtedly was pivotal for the league. Like
completely.
High record viewership, record attendance. People are just super excited about the league, but you can't expect people to stick around if people are upset with how the games are going because of the refereeing. I think that's like a problem that's going to have to be addressed.
Yeah.
If they want to sustain the viewership and like the trust in the league.
Yeah. I think it's mostly what it comes down to is like, this year was probably a big turning point for the WNBA. And so you now have to invest in women's sports.
Yes.
Because when you invest, then the outcome, the product is better.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like, okay, put your money where your mouth is, actually invest in it. And then maybe there's better consistency with the refs. There's better consistency with different arenas, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, that's why people are so upset about not investing in women's sports is like, well, yeah, you don't want to watch it because the product is inconsistent. It's like, well, you have to invest in it to get a consistent product. It's kind of funny to be
talking about. I know like sports are a business, but it's just funny to be talking about it. Like,
I know.
I know. I was reading this article from The Athletic and the writer was just like, when this happens, it compromises the product of it compromises the product.
Completely.
Which is what you were just pointing to. But I'm curious for you, like watching the NFL, just comparing it to another sport. Because like you were saying, it does happen in other leagues. Is there like protocol for officiating? Is there like this much, have you seen this much outrage?
Oh yeah.
Over calls before?
Oh yeah. I think that Super Bowl call, people were like ready to throw tables over. But I will say that I think it was last year where there was like a big call for helping kind of fund and pay NFL refs better so that it could be a full-time job for them, because a lot of them obviously are like doing this in a dual job aspect to make enough money.
Oh my God.
And they, I think a lot of people were like, if you pay them better, then again, the product is more consistent.
Yeah.
You're getting just like more reliable refs across each game to game to game. And I think too, it's interesting because I'm pretty sure this is how it works. Like coaches can make complaints like after the game, not like complaints, but you know, they can file kind of like, oh, I didn't agree with this call and this was XYZY. And I don't know how that process gets kind of vetted, but I do know that it gets like reviewed by the league, and then like those refs kind of get evaluated in that sense. So I think it's always like that is, I think refs and reffing in general, people keep coming back to, because now with like computer systems and all of that stuff, it's like, where's the line you draw of like, let the game go on, and when do you insert yourself, and what about human error and replay and all of that. So it's like very complex these days. But whenever a ref makes a call in a very pivotal moment of a game, I think people will always be pissed.
That's true.
One side or the other is going to be pissed.
Exactly. I think that's a good takeaway. Also, one thing I'm kind of bummed about, maybe this should be my closing thought, but it's just like, it is unfortunate that this is the Liberty's first championship that they've won. Obviously, like I said, big year for the WNBA. And it sucks that this year, what happens to be like probably the biggest year for the W, like this is kind of leaving a stain.
Yeah.
You know? And it's hard for Liberty fans to be happy, I think, because it feels like there's some shame going around.
Relatable, I feel like, in the sense because Michigan kind of had that with everyone claiming that they were cheating. And
recently?
Yeah, like last season. So they won the national championship last year, but they were saying that this guy Connor Stallions was on like the sidelines of other teams' games, like recording their signage used for plays and whatnot. I've watched the documentary on him.
There's a documentary on this?
Oh my God, Blake.
Oh my God.
I have such a world to introduce you to.
How much time you got?
Yeah, exactly. But yes, long story short, it does kind of leave just like a taste in people's mouths, where it's like, oh, well, Michigan didn't really win. They cheated. And it's like, a win is a win. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, so for our next story, we're turning to college football, where the almighty Alabama Crimson Tide were taken down by the University of Tennessee this past Saturday, but not without trying every trick in the book. During the third quarter, Alabama was in need of a substitution, but didn't want to burn a timeout. So what did they do, Caroline?
It was really weird.
They
like, a player was coming off the field, and then one of the coaches was pushing another player onto the field. And I don't know if he pushed him actually forcefully hard. It did not look like it was hard. But then, and I did not know if he was told to trip and fake an injury. It's kind of what it looked like. But then he like trips on the field as he literally takes 2 steps, trips and falls on the field, and then is laying like he's injured. And everyone's like, oh, he's injured. Here's my thing. That's where I draw the line, because we talked about last week, Dan Lanning, the Oregon coach, using 12 men on the field to get that penalty and work in his favor. Okay, chestnut checkers, agreed. No one, like, that's not immoral, in my opinion. When you fake an injury, that crosses the line for me, because, I mean, like, I just watched a really scary injury this past weekend when someone went down on the field for, like, a decent amount of time. And I was, like, on the verge of tears, because I was like, holy shit, is this guy okay? This is so scary. Yeah. Football is like so dangerous, and people sometimes don't remember that until these moments happen. And so when we're faking injuries, I'm like, that ain't for me.
Not for nothing too. It's like, if you're going to fake an injury, please do it right. It was very much giving... He thought he was giving Juilliard. It was giving summer theater camp.
Yeah, you were not appreciative of his
y'all are going to need to rewatch this, because it was just, kind of pathetic.
It was just like, I don't know. That's classless, in my opinion.
Yes.
I've never.
Caroline and I have different, same takes, but like I'm more focused on the performance because what the hell?
She's like, you need some acting
if you're gonna
classes.
do it right, you know?
But like, I get theatrics go into some games, right? Because that's how you get the penalties called on you. For example, men's soccer, specifically.
She looks right in the camera with that one.
I have my qualms. But like, I get it. You can sometimes like play it up a little bit, but like, let's not just completely fake it.
Yeah.
And have people worry about you for no reason. I don't know. It just, that one rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. And
wasn't my
Alabama was
favorite.
ultimately flagged for illegal substitution and did lose the game 24-17 anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you get concerned at all that this becomes more of a thing, or like?
I don't think it's normal. No.
Okay.
I think it was probably just like an act of desperation to try and
Jesus.
like kind of save the game.
Also, it's like, if you don't got it, just accept it.
Yeah.
If you don't got the game in the bag, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you can't use your actual
Did
skill
it to yourselves,
you know
kind
what
of
I mean?
thing.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't use your skill to get us to the finish line,
just
don't fake a trip.
Just accept that you weren't the best one on the field that day. Yeah, I don't know. Seems quite simple to me, but who am I to talk? All right, so next Monday, the 28th, marks the one and only sports equinox of the calendar year. So it means 4 major sports leagues, MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL, will be competing on the same exact date. Are you impressed?
I am impressed.
Wow,
That's a lot
okay.
of coordination.
It is. I don't know if they did
And
it
a
on
lot
purpose.
of time, like, there's no red zone for all 4 sports, right? So I'm like, what? I
Right.
gotta go this way, that way?
Wait, I'm pretty sure, I could be lying. Sometimes I just say things with confidence and hope it sticks. I'm pretty sure YouTube TV, you can like pick to watch multiple things at once. But I don't know if
That's another subscription I gotta get, Caroline.
But I don't know if it's just in like the same sport, because I think I usually just do it for college football. So I could be lying. So don't hold me to that. But yeah, it will be very interesting. I agree. So also playing on that day, some baseball action. Yankees taking on the Dodgers in Game 3 of the World Series. So there's, obvious storylines there. New York, LA. But Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge going head to head. 2 of probably the most notable and best baseball players in the league. And this is coming from someone who objectively, I do not watch baseball.
Truthfully.
Definitely not on TV. If I go to a game, sure.
I'm down for a beer and glizzy.
That's like a summer staple activity,
Absolutely.
Don't know if I agree with you on the glizzy, but...
Because you call it a hot dog? Is that what it is?
No, I just don't like hot dogs.
Oh, I mean, they're
controversial.
Foul. They are foul products that humans have made, but I will eat a glizzy if it's in front of me.
They're clearly delicious for some people. So I just think that it's gotten a lot of notoriety, obviously.
Yes.
Baseball fans are rolling their eyes at me. I know.
It's actually really cute. My partner is Japanese, and he says that everywhere in Japan right now, there's just posters of Shohei.
Oh, that's really cute.
I feel very connected to him.
Oh, that's really cute. Well, I mean, like, what he is able to do as an athlete, absurd. Very absurd. Like, insane. But I think that having 2 of the most notable players kind of going against each other in the World Series is something that probably happens in other leagues that is just like no big deal. But I don't think it happens in baseball a lot. Am I wrong? You can tell me if I am baseball
Let us
fanatics.
know in the comments.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Though.
I think that almost makes me more inclined to stay connected and stay kind of in tune with the World Series because of the players themselves.
So on Sports Equinox, it sounds like you might be tuned in to MLB.
I'll check it on my phone.
She said, I'm not turning the TV on.
I'll watch the highlights. I was having this conversation with my coworker the other day because he grew up playing baseball. I was like, baseball for me just doesn't do it. There's never been a play where I've been like, holy shit, that was awesome. I've done that with the NHL. I've done that with the NBA when there's like a cool dunk. I've done that obviously in the NFL. But like, that just doesn't do it for me. He got so pissed at me. He started showing me highlights and was like, does this not do it for you? And I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said anything. So I am accepting that the haters are going to come for me, but that's okay. So I'll watch the highlights, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes. And the NBA is tipping off actually tonight. Very exciting with games between the Knicks and Celtics and the Wolves and Lakers.
Yeah. So huge game between the Wolves and Lakers because obviously, LeBron James, Bronny James.
Gotta talk
A
about
lot of debate of will they see their first debut regular season father-son duo time on the court together. So JJ Redick, the head coach, was asked if there was a plan in place to kind of play them both at the same time. And he was like, no plans finalized. We haven't kind of gone through that. That's coach talk.
Yeah.
There's definitely a plan in place, but he doesn't want to share, so that's fine. Teach their own. And then Bronny James was asked about it, and he was like, I don't know if I'm playing, but Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr., who were two baseball players in the 90s that were on the same team, obviously they're father and son. Hopefully you got that from the senior junior. But they played together, and that was like the last time it was a really big deal. They will be in attendance. So he was like, I don't know if I'm going to play, but I think that will be a really cool moment to have them kind of courtside. Right. I think that was kind of like a, hey, they're going to be in attendance. Maybe you should put me in the game. I don't know. But I do think that they kind of have to play him because otherwise it's going to become a whole big thing of like, when's he going to see his first time?
And the pressure's just going to mount.
Exactly. So it's kind of almost like you rip the Band-Aid off, you get it over with. But if it's a close game, who knows if he'll play? I don't know. So it's like there's a lot of factors going on. Will he start the game? Will he go in for like 5 minutes somewhere? Who knows? So that will be a very big storyline to watch.
On the other side of the court, if you will.
Yes.
I was reading this story about how Anthony Edwards, who's on the Wolves, he's gotten a lot of attention recently because he said he'd consider, these athletes are so ridiculous. He was like, I'll consider leaving basketball to pursue my dream of becoming an NFL star if the circumstances are right.
Okay, so earlier, I want to say it was training camp. I clearly have like the memory of Dory from Finding Nemo because I can never remember specific details. My best friend Lily gets really mad at me about that. But someone said, I think it was an NBA player, it could have maybe been an NFL player, said they could play the opposite sport. And like, so then it became a big debate in like training camp. It became a very big debate. And so what, like, I know a lot of teams do like mini mic questions where they ask players different questions with like a little mini mic. And they're usually like a little controversial to kind of stir it up. So a lot of players were giving their take on like, could you play in the NFL? Could you play in the NBA? Vice versa, whatever. It was going on Twitter. It was a whole thing. I think for the majority, I think a lot of players were like, obviously the other side can't play in our sport. Right. But then a lot of them were like, no, I could play basketball. I couldn't play football because of the physicality. And then obviously the other argument was like, oh, I could play football. I couldn't play basketball. So, it's always a hot debate. I will say I do know a lot of our players, or at least the players that I know, have played basketball also growing up. And so a lot of them were like really good.
Dual athlete.
One of our tight ends went to college for basketball and then walked onto the football team, and now he's in the NFL. So it's like kind of crazy. So I don't know what his dream position would be. I did not hear that, but
I did not either. I will say he said, quote, I told my buddies, I said, if I win a ring in the next 3 to 4 years, I'm going to play football. And hearing little Anthony, he's not little, but he feels little to me when I was watching him on Starting Five. I don't know why. Like he felt the shortest to me.
Well, because he's like the youngest, I think.
That's probably why. You're right. Yeah. He does seem a little overly confident at times.
Okay. When I was watching the show, I literally was like, wow, what would it be like to have the confidence of literally any one of these guys?
Seriously.
Obviously, you're like one of the best in the league, so you kind of have that. But I'm like, oh my God, I should really work on confidence.
No, I know.
They just really got it in the bag.
I want the confidence of LeBron and Edwards. I want to channel my inner Jimmy Butler. And just be a weird little freak. Like was he just in the music video for Pete Wentz for Fall Out Boy, or was he saying that he was recording music in Starting Five, was he not?
I think so.
Yeah. I want to like record an album. I want to show up to press conferences looking like a goth.
Yep. As the whole media day went through with goth makeup and everything.
And then I want to channel the pretty boyness of Jason Tatum. And I guess
DeMontis Sabonis.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jason's the prettiest to me.
someone has a crush.
Damn, drag me. I do.
But no, I think, so I have no horse in the NBA race. Like I didn't really grow up having a team. I do understand why people think Anthony Edwards is the villain. Because
he kind of reminds me of Noah Lyles.
Okay, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Like very confident.
Yeah, young.
Yeah, totally. But he was in the movie Hustle with Adam Sandler. That's kind of like really where he first came on my radar. He was already in the NBA. But like his role in that movie, he was the villain then too. But I just loved him. And I was so into him. And then, of course, this show gives you like a sneak peek of kind of who he is as a person. I don't know. Usually I don't like cheer for the villain. I don't know. I'm kind of here for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's taking a dark side.
I know. I was into everything like he's about.
Yes. Well, okay. I'm going to rep New York teams just because.
Yeah.
But I could be swayed. So if you have a compelling.
So are you a Celtics fan?
New York. No, Knicks.
No, because of Jason Tatum, your boyfriend.
Okay, no. What I was going to say.
That's my compelling argument for you.
I mean, I did start my fantasy draft by drafting who I thought would be the hottest men.
Of course.
That did not serve me. But I was going to say, yeah, if you have a pitch for me, also, you can slide into my DMs and tell me why you think I should buy into your team.
There you go. Heard it here first. Okay, before we go, in case you missed it, some history, Blake.
Yeah, some history making. So before we transition into Tuesday Morning Quarterback, Caroline, you sent me actually a great story from Billie Jean King. Do you want to share it?
I mean, my life goal is to be acknowledged by Billie Jean King. She's just the coolest. My mom, like, big tennis girly. She played tennis like as an adult, her whole kind of adult. That was like, I guess, her form of exercise, but like also socialization. So she's really into following tennis. So I kind of grew up watching tennis. I just think Billie Jean King is so cool.
She's an icon.
So she posted a tweet and the caption was, "Did you know women make up only 32% of sports photographers? Cheers to Gabby Riccardi on making history as the first woman to film a pregame runout for the MLB." So Gabby Riccardi, she works for the MLB. She was videotaped, I guess, as one of their players was running out of the dugout. She was right behind them, following them. And apparently that's the first
That's insane.
like woman to do that, which is crazy to me because obviously I work with two incredible sports photographers, Sarah Snyder and Shari Blythe. They are so good at what they do, and they both work for the Jets. I've heard Sarah kind of mention how obviously she's in the minority of sports photographers because of being a woman, but like I just didn't think that like the run out, that actual filming of that had never been done by a woman before.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy to me because we also have, I guess when I think about it, all of our camera operators at work, like all of our shooters, they are all men except for one girl,
Wow.
Sarah Conti. So, and she's incredible at what she does. So it's kind of crazy to me where I think I'm so maybe immune to it at this point.
Right. You didn't even bat an eye.
Yeah. So, love seeing Billie Jean King support her. Love that for Gabby.
Yeah.
Like, kudos to her.
It was a really cool video too.
Yeah. I mean, she's incredible at what she does. I was stalking her on Instagram last night and I was like, yep. I mean, sports photographers in general just captured like the coolest pictures. But yeah. Love it. Here for it. Want to see more of it. Duh. We had a packed weekend of NFL action these past few days, so let's not delay it any longer. Time for Tuesday Morning Quarterback. So we're going to start with a follow-up on the countdown we started last week, Watson Watch. It was truly 1 week ago today, where we questioned whether or not Browns quarterback Deshun Watson would make it like starting much longer. Turns out he actually tore his Achilles in yesterday's game. So first question, did we accidentally put a hex on him?
We might have. We may very well be the witches of well played.
Yep.
Or it could just be like karma for this man.
Yes. Channeling our inner Sabrina Carpenter, might we add.
Yeah. So following the injury, many fans could actually be heard cheering his demise. After the game, several of his teammates defended him, saying that you should never root for an injury. which I understand in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, so one of those teammates was star Myles Garrett, and he went so far as to say, Watson does, quote, pretty much everything right. He's been a model citizen through college and most of the pros. And I was just like, does this man have selective hearing, seeing, vision, whatever? Because has he not heard of the many lawsuits and allegations against Mr. Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I always think it's messed up when you cheer for an injury. I obviously never want to see anyone hurt. It's painful, obviously, but then it's also can be career altering for people. Like, it's terrible. I think when people cheer for injuries, it's really classless. I completely agree on that point. However, Myles Garrett had those comments, obviously. Then Jameis Winston also talked about it because he ended up coming in as the emergency quarterback in that game. And he was like, I'm going to stand with him and stand by him because of everything he's been through. And as someone that people have like hated on for the last 4 years, something along those lines. And I would just like to say, I think he got a little bit too emotional in the moment when he was trying to defend his teammate and crossed a line in the sense that, like, you gotta have like a little bit of wherewithal because like he's only on the Browns this year. He was on the Saints earlier. So he wasn't there when the whole like suspension for Deshaun Watson took place, all of that, whatever. Okay, sure. But like, dude, I would just love for one of these emotional moments to be about like the victims of the actual sexual assault.
Yeah. Like, why are you... Weird moment.
He got too emotional. And like, you're gonna say what you want about that. But like, that's the truth of it. Like, you got really emotional about him getting injured, about people cheering for the injury. I completely get that side of it. But then you like crossed a line where you were trying to like defend his character. And it's like, no, you don't need to do that.
Right.
You can be mad at the fans for cheering for an injury. I completely agree with that. You don't have to go into defending his character because I'm sorry, but his character is not good.
Yes.
Like, we've seen that.
I don't know. I might have also cheered for his injury. And so therefore I am classless. But I already knew that. I knew that before, way before I decided that I would probably cheer for his injury.
Here's the thing. You can do no wrong in my mind. So you are exempt.
But also, I mean, yeah, like, let us not forget, more than 24 women accused Deshun Watson of sexual assault. And then he settled more than 23
cases. Out of 24 of the cases.
Exactly. Like, to me,
he settled them like privately. So I don't know. The writing's on the wall for that.
Exactly. And so, I mean, weird moment for them to decide to defend him.
Very. Also, in football related like news of this actually leaves the Browns in like a very awkward spot for quarterback because his contract is so terrible. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Browns fans, but like, oh my God. I'm pretty sure his cap hit is $72.9 million for 2025.
What does that mean?
That means that obviously there's like a general salary cap. That means that no matter what, next year he's getting paid $72.9 million. You can cut him and like he could not be on the team, but you still have to pay him $72.9 million. So if you're going to try and get like another quarterback situation, you got to figure it out with the other cap numbers allowed, whatever. It's $72.9 million for 2025. It's also $72.9 million for 2026.
Oh my God.
So they're in a hole. And like, this is going to mess them up at quarterback for a long time, unless they finagle a trade or something with like draft picks. I don't know, but it's not good because also let's say he comes back from his ACL tear and he's not the same player. Like, then you're really out of luck. So that's a very interesting storyline I think we should also watch as it goes on.
Oh, we sure will.
Oh, we sure will.
Because even though Watson Watch is like over in this context, it's not over for the Browns.
No, not at all. So yeah, they're in for one.
Mm-hmm. So next up on Tuesday Morning Quarterback, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs remain the only undefeated team in the league.
Classic.
Despite uncharacteristically low passing numbers from Mahomes himself. However, Mahomes did have some highlight plays on the move that he attributes to not athletic ability, not to good vibes. No, he attributes it to his dad bod. While talking to Tom Brady after the game the other night, Mahomes said, quote, "The people who have seen the dad bod, that's for a reason. That's the obliques. I'm getting them right." Brady went on to explain that we've got to keep a little padding there. We're getting hit all the time. They don't understand. We can't look like those receivers all the time. Caroline, do you think the dad bod actually is a secret to his success?
Okay, wait, I'm actually so behind him on this because not that like my obliques look like his obliques. I do solid core once a week. I know. Don't be like, wow, Caroline. No, but I completely agree with that because whenever I see a quarterback get hit from their blind side, so they're about to throw it, they have no idea one of like the DNs are coming at them a million miles an hour. They look like they get trucked. And oh my God, does it look painful. Also, we've seen so many quarterbacks fracture their ribs.
Oh my God.
Fun fact for you, did you know what the most common 2 injuries in rowing are?
Fractured rib?
Herniated disc, fractured ribs.
What?
Yep. Crazy, right? Because your muscles get so tight and strong around your rib cage that they go.
Oh my God.
I know. Rowers are athletes too. Don't forget that. So I have not fractured a rib, thank God. My sister has.
Oh.
My friends have.
Oh.
And they say it's the most painful thing. You can't breathe.
Oh my
like,
God.
You literally can't take a deep breath without having excruciating pain. And then my one friend, Sarah, she like could not. I'm realizing everyone in my life is named Sarah. I've named 3 Sarahs this episode. And my sister's name is Sarah. So that's 4.
So
crazy. But she couldn't sleep on that side, whatever. So I completely agree with him. He needs the padding there.
He needs that padding.
And like wide receivers are so cut that I honestly see some of our wide receivers get hit here and there. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous they're going to break.
You're too fragile for this, honey.
Yeah, because like you're getting hit so hard. I'm like, how are you not breaking every bone in your body? So I'm here for it. I appreciate the dad bod, but also let's be real. Mahomes, you're just an athletic freak of nature.
Yeah.
So like, it's not just your dad bod. it's your athleticism, my friend. So meanwhile, Chiefs played the 49ers and everything is going wrong for them. I feel bad. They lost their wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, to an MCL ACL tear in his knee. Deebo Samuel wasn't on the field because he had pneumonia. So he had to go to the hospital because I think they found fluid in his lungs.
Oh
Their injury list is crazy this year, like specifically the 49ers. Everyone has been injured. Christian McCaffrey's on IR. Like all of these big stars have been really hurt for them. So that is really, I feel bad because they just have not been able to.
You're so sweet, Caroline. I feel bad.
I know. Too nice.
That's your opponent, girl.
I know.
Stop feeling so bad.
The 49ers beat the Jets at the beginning of the season.
I also read that left tackle Trent Williams got so frustrated in the 4th quarter that he punched an opposing player and was ejected from the game.
Okay.
That seems very mean.
I need it. It says I'm too nice. And then it's like, that was mean. Don't punch them.
Punched him.
I mean, okay, yeah, not legal. Clearly why he got ejected. But they always say, never be the second person in a fight because you will always be the one that gets caught, like on the sports field.
Well, I feel like in real life too.
Also, yeah, maybe don't. But if you start it, you got to finish it. Yeah, so like,
True.
Yeah, but then you would be the second person.
Right,
so
right,
I don't know. Okay, neither here nor there. But they always say never be the second person because it's always the second person who retaliates that gets caught and gets penalized. So if you're looking at the play, I watch the replay of it. He gets punched in the head.
Oh.
He's getting up from the ground and he gets punched in the head. So then he gets up and he's like, what the hell? You're not getting away with that. And then punches the other guy in the head.
For him.
So you know what? He was defending himself. And can we just maybe not punch in general? But I'm here for defending yourself.
But do you think there's any chance that the reigning NFC champs will return to the playoff despite this 3-4 start?
Listen, there's only 7 games that have been played, right? There's still 10 games left in the season. There's plenty of time. It's a long, long season. If they can get some of these players back from injury, I think they will be okay. It's just, what will their roster look like? Because I think that is the biggest sticking point at the moment for the 49ers specifically.
Yeah.
3-4, not bad. You can completely come back from that. But do you have the players on the field that will help you come back from that? That's the big question. I will say special shout out to Ricky Pearsall, their rookie wide receiver, finally made his NFL debut. He was shot in a robbery attempt earlier this year. Returned to the field 50 days after being shot. And so he made his NFL debut yesterday or Sunday. So the Lions, we can't stop talking about them. They had another triumphant moment Sunday. They took down the previously undefeated Minnesota Vikings at home with a last-second field goal by the first-year kicker, Jake Bates. Now, Jake Bates went viral after the game for several reasons. One, he received the game ball from head coach Dan Campbell, which is always a great moment. I feel like we continuously bring up their locker room speeches. His dance following the kick was... Apparently, it's a TikTok dance.
I did not see it.
Which, it's like the bring the boom dance or something. I don't know. I looked it up on TikTok. I looked it up on TikTok because I was like, this has not come up on my For You page. Same. It's interesting, the origin. I think the people that were doing it, the family that was doing it, was serious when they were doing it, and it was really cringe. But yeah, it was just like a muscle kind of flex. And then like he's almost like tap dancing his feet. Very interesting. But okay, so he's a TikToker. And then 3, Bates admitted after the game that he'd nearly given up his dream of playing in the NFL.
Yeah, in his post-game press conference, he admitted, quote, 18 months ago, I thought I was done with football. I was working as a brick salesman in Houston. Rags to riches.
I know.
Am I right? So how often do you see this in the NFL? Like people having regular jobs, coming to the NFL. Like I feel like there's usually not that transition time.
I don't think so. I know like there's been plenty of stories of football players being like, I almost gave up on my dream of like, oh, I was stuck on the JV team in high school, or I didn't have that successful of a college career and then I really exploded, whatever. So I know that there's been that, but I don't think that there's hardly ever been an instance where you have a legit full-time job and you're still trying to make an NFL team. And then on top of that, like, once again, I've talked about this before, but NFL kickers kind of have to have ice in their veins because a lot of the times you're relying on that kick to win you a game. And he just did it with ease.
He seemed like a sweetheart, but he really went from bricks to balls. I'm sorry, I had
Nailed
to.
it.
I had to.
Nailed it. Okay.
I'm a sick freak. I'm sorry.
But you know what? You're going to love this one because one of my favorite quotes of the weekend came from Houston Texans receiver Stefon Diggs. I'm not kidding. When I heard this, I literally was like, oh my God, he matches Blake's pettiness level. He got into a heated confrontation with Packers DB Jair Alexander. The two started chirping one another, had to be separated pregame. Then after the game, Diggs said, and I quote, I don't give an F if I'm by myself or with a million. I'm never the bigger person. Hilarious. I honestly love that he called himself out.
I like that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate honesty. Are you the bigger person typically?
No, I don't think so. Like, I think in a moment, if like people were like, if I was going back and forth with someone, I'm not that good with like quippy insults. So
I agree. Not
she was like, work on your trash talking game. You are embarrassing me.
No. I'm the same way. Is what I mean.
But like with my siblings, oh my God, I'm never the bigger person. I'm so annoying.
I'm often the bigger person, actually. I think that would surprise some people.
Proud of you.
I just don't like to fight. I never have liked conflict. However, when it comes to there's one thing in my life that I will never be the bigger person about.
Yeah.
I don't care if there's a starving child in front of me. I'm not sharing my food. I'm not. That's just how it always has been. It always will be.
Well, you know what? Youngest child, I get that because you had to literally like fight for the second helpings. Fight for scraps, the drama. You had to fight for second helpings because, well, my brother just inhaled food when we were growing up because boy. So yeah, I get that. You're territorial. Own it.
It also feels like this could be his Real Housewives tagline.
100%. Like,
I want to see that in a video form.
Someone please like meme that. I don't know how the internet could do it, but like they're capable. Someone's gonna
get around to it.
Yeah.
So another story I want to talk about real quick is Tom Brady is now officially a part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, making him the first owner / commentator out there. But people are saying this is bad for the Tom Brady broadcasts. I like that alliteration. Tom Brady broadcast.
Yeah.
Caroline, can you explain the downside of having to own a team and commentate at the same time?
I'm going to try and do this concisely. I don't know if this has ever been done before because...
Classic Tom Brady.
Classic. Because when you have a minority share of an NFL team, the rules that I've read is you cannot be critical of the refs. You cannot be critical of other teams. You cannot attend any broadcast meetings virtually or in person. He cannot attend practices of other teams, and he cannot go to production meetings. Also, like the gambling policy, he can't participate in gambling. So, like all of those things. So it's a lot
of rules.
It almost goes against everything that broadcasters do.
Right.
Broadcasters have production meetings where they meet with coaches and players, and they get to kind of ask them in a more candid, natural way, like what's been going on at practices, what the vibe is, what they're working on, all of these things. So that's really helpful for broadcast because then you can talk about it on air. If it were me, I would feel completely unprepared going into a game without having that background knowledge on the team. Now, can someone just fill him in, be like, this is what was said, yada, yada, yada? Sure. Are people not going to listen to him? No, he's Tom Brady. Of course they're going to listen to him. So I think that is a little bit interesting. It's probably the only case where this works as a broadcaster because of who he is and was on the football field.
Yeah, it seems like people are kind of annoyed though at his performance so far with commentating
because he can't be critical of the refs and the other team. So like, how are you going to be like? I think too something that a lot of like journalists, broadcasters pride themselves on is being unbiased.
Of course.
And that is such a big point of contention because now it's like, well, he can't really be unbiased because he can't be critical of the refs. He can't be critical of the other team. So I don't know.
Interesting, like business decision on his behalf.
Yeah, I don't know
and
how. Yeah, I don't know how it will affect his future as a broadcaster. But
people will probably watch because it's
Tom Brady, right? So I don't know. We'll see. All right, we're going to finish out this episode of Well Played with another round of everyone's favorite game, Send It. So the Skims' very own version of the Send It to Me Rachel TikTok, which you reminded me of last week. You should be sending all of these videos to your sports group chats. So I am going to give you the floor. By all means, start your Send It.
Well, speaking of Tom Brady, did you see that crazy ass hologram?
Yeah, we're doing too much. We're doing too much here. Like, why can't we just put him on the big screen in the background as like a normal FaceTime?
That's what we've been doing.
Video.
Tried and true.
It's normal.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But of course, they had to superimpose a slightly oversized Tom Brady next to this line
slightly oversized. It was weird. He was like disproportionate.
And the men were just like standing around and kind of smiling at him. And
I'm sure you're obviously looking at nothing when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So then it's,
like, this is so awkward for everyone involved.
Yeah, it was. I'm okay with out doing the holograms. I feel like we can give them a couple years to develop, get a little better.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little more realistic. And then we can start implementing them. I think we jumped the gun on that one.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so my Send It nominee, I'd like to put forward something that I saw on TikTok. WNBA fans, electric, all like this entire finals series. Historic, star-studded, like could not be topped. There were so many iconic people in attendance. However, there was a dog sitting courtside. And it might not have been the most viral moment, but holy shit, was that dog cute. Also so well behaved.
Yeah.
My dog, if he was ever allowed in an arena, which God forbid he would not be. First of all, he would not be sitting down. Like the dog was literally barely peeking out, and I'm sure it was probably a service dog, so they are very well trained.
He was working.
Yes, he was working.
He was on the job.
On the job, or she was on the job. But like my dog would be actively trying to chase down the basketball, and
that's not allowed.
No, not allowed. And also, like, my dog would just be like, oh my God, there's food. Oh, this person looks nice. I'm going to go up and sniff them. Yada, yada, yada. So anyways, I really appreciated that.
Your dog would be trying to steal my glizzy that I was eating courtside.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Could not
and
be
I
better.
give it to her because I'm charitable like that.
No. My dad would be mad at you for that.
Okay, my turn again. So the New York Mets may have been eliminated Sunday. Sorry, Mets fans. But I have to mention Miss Scarlett Johansson's hilarious hat that she wore to the game. So she was sitting next to her hubby, Mr. Colin Jost, and she was spotted in a skybox with a hat that just said the Met, as in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And meanwhile, her husband was wearing a proper Mets hat. And I felt seen by her in that moment because I am starved for attention. So I also would wear a hat that just said the Met.
Okay, and I like people who were like, oh, she did that because she was looking through her closet and she didn't have a Mets hat and that was the only one. Definitely not. That was on purpose. But also, you're trying to tell me that her husband, Colin Jost, an SNL star who is so hilarious, did not be like, you don't have a Mets hat? Oh, that's okay. You can wear the hat that says the Met. Like, that was definitely his plot line. Yeah, he was like, oh, you got that. And then she was like, oh my God, you're so right. That's hilarious. Also, just the fact that they had a hat that said the Met, interesting. I'm like, I've literally never seen that hat.
Me neither. She supports the arts.
She's a woman of the arts, damn it. Okay, last one. We had so much to choose from this week, but I will say the final nominee. So wide receiver Amari Cooper of the Buffalo Bills, he was just traded there last week. He's a 10-year veteran in the league. He had a really incredible moment with his first touchdown as a member of the Buffalo Bills. Why was it so special, you ask? Because it appeared like pre-snap that he does not know what the play is. And then Keon Coleman, who is a rookie wide receiver, kind of like points, does like a little signal with his hand of like where he's supposed to go. And then he runs and catches a touchdown.
There you go.
So like not knowing Keon Coleman, let me say this. Keon Coleman was asked about it in his press conference afterwards. And they were like, did you tell Amari Cooper what to do on that play? And he was like, no, I just reminded him. Like he knows the playbook. I just reminded him. And I'm like,
gentle reminder.
So you told him.
Yeah.
But
say it with your chest, honey.
Yeah, it's okay. But also like even more impressive because you get traded to a team. You have to learn an entirely new playbook, a whole different offensive scheme, all of that. And then it's like, okay, what the hell is this play that was called? I can't remember it. Let me look to my friend and teammate to help me out. And the fact that he was able to just understand it from one little hand motion, then be able to score a freaking touchdown on that play. I'm like annoyed. I'm like, you're so athletic. These people are so impressive. Oh my God.
Smarty pants.
So what was your winner for the week?
Wait, can you go first? I haven't decided yet.
That was really honest of you. I think I'm going to go with the dog just because I'm a dog lover at heart.
I kind of was thinking dog just because I like the visual that you of your dog being in the court and the dog, me feeding your dog.
Sharing the hot dog moment with my dog. Okay.
I like that as a visual.
We'll get you and Bo to meet. I think you two would have a beautiful friendship. Yeah.
I'm begging. But that's it for this week. Send it. Be sure to send it to your friends, family, coworkers, and make sure you make us your Instagram story. We're going to probably share one of these as a social clip. Yeah. We make really cool videos for you to watch.
Exactly. That's it for this episode of Well Played, presented by The Skim. Thanks so much for listening.
We will be back again next Tuesday. As always.
Can't get rid of us.
You cannot. With another episode, of Well Played. So be sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening or wherever you're watching on YouTube.
Yep. Follow us at The Skim. Follow us at CG Hendy.
Follow us at BL, 3 A's, 4 K's, and an E.
I'm so proud of you. That was so smooth.
I had some practice.
And as always, leave us a rating and a review. And be sure to check out the Well Played YouTube channel where we have the full-length video of today's episode and Blake's incredible boots.
Thank you.
Just search Well Played by The Skim on YouTube.
Until next time, thank you for listening to Well Played,
the only podcast in a league of its own.